Okay, welcome back to episode 2, Amnesia's Dark Descent. I'm now playing with a gamepad, so it may take me a moment to get used to the control scheme. Traveling to Dover meant to go through Calgary. He made sure to pay a visit. Oh, I didn't catch all that. I was fixing a cable. And controller fell down. Anyway. Excellent. Put that back up there. Okay. One second. Too many cables in my office. The real horror show. Okay. Let's... Alright, so this proceeds to that archives. Oh, that's where I came from. I'm in the old archives now. Alright. Nope.
Alexander, is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp. You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
Interesting voice acting choices. You've got frickin' Vincent Price dude here with like Jolly Chap from England going on. Alright. I thought I had those turned on for subtitles. So, in fact, subtitles, I do have those on. Okay. I'm not going to be able to get through that. Archives. If I remember right in can I, there we go, whoop, there we go. That's boarded off. If I remember right, this serves as a hub of sorts in this game. Worthwhile to take a moment to explore. There's gonna come a point in the playthrough where I'm out of tinder boxes or oil or something. So it is worthwhile to take a moment here. There we go. Okay. Grab this book. Throw it over there. All pretty standard. We got the archives. That's normal. Oh, we got little buggies again. Going insane. So... okay, that's the room we came in. And we've got a couple of doors down this way. Laboratory. And down here we've got wine cellar. Locked and won't open without a key. Okay. I think we're gonna have to mix a concoction in the laboratory. If I remember this right, so we're gonna start by going... I do have a run. Okay. We're gonna start by going in the archives. Door slammed shut behind him and knew he'd never again see the old tailor at Berkeley Square. Another lone soul in London seemed appropriate somehow. Okay, here we go. Rare books. Ah, this is right.
16th of May, 1839. The unflinching African sun has continued to plague our expedition, making it impossible to dig until dusk. How Professor Herbert managed to find the location in these vast plains of nothingness remains a mystery to me. When I asked him about the tomb again, he told me about the legend of Tin Hanan, the mother of us all. An interesting story in its own right, but I can't help feeling there's more. Later that evening, we uncovered a passage beneath the dunes leading to a sand-covered stone structure. The professor was confident it was the tomb we sought and ordered the others to clear the way late into the dark, cold night. Tomorrow, I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach the burial chamber. No matter what the professor is keeping from me, the dig should yield something interesting to take back to London and the British Museum.
Okay. A dig in Africa. There's going to be a lot of 3-drawer chests to look at in this game. I'm gonna give a shot in options graphics for vertical sync. Hopefully that will reduce some of the tearing I'm seeing. I hope the tearing's not coming out on the capture. This is the catalogs. Moving over here. Let's go ahead and not go crazy. That way. There we go. On the desk we're taken, doesn't appear to be. Ah, we got a note. I hereby offer my full attention and services to Alexander. This is Wilhelm's contract. Baron of Brenningherg. This contract will reign for a total of 3 years when my freedom shall return to me. This is indentured servitude, basically. In addition, Alexander, Baron of Brenningherg, is to recommend my services at the Prussian Royal Court and within the sanctum of the Order of the Black Eagle. May no man break the seal. Wilhelm, House of Gretsch. So, in exchange for a standing in an order we know nothing about, was willing to be an indentured servant for a couple of years. Okay. We sane? Slight headache. Go ahead and use a since we're back and forth on this path a little bit. Let's go into the study. Is there anything down here? Inkwell. Going on my own strength. Oh, we can tinder up a fireplace if we wanted. Got some shirts. Nothing else. Oh, I got another note.
17th of May, 1839. My hands tremble as I write. I feel a need to document my tribulation, for I fear that my memory will fail me if I linger. Today, I took some men and ventured into the dark, ancient passage we uncovered. Our torches burned faintly in the murky air as we slowly made our way underground. The men were superstitious and fearful. They argued loudly, and I felt their strange language getting to me. I mustered my strength and yelled at them to continue down the slopes and broken steps. The crudely carved passage confused me. It looked much older than the 4th century structure we had expected. The twisting path emerged into a great antechamber. The walls were lined with statues unlike any I'd ever seen. Despite their unearthly quality, I felt a strange familiarity toward them, which haunts me still. At the far end of the chamber, a great slab of stone sealed off whatever lay ahead. I gave the order to raise it, and as I pushed through the narrow space, the heavy stone suddenly dropped, sealing me inside. I was trapped.
Alright, he has a bad experience on the expedition. Exorcist movie actually uses the same setup. You don't see the expedition, but that is sort of like the origin of the possession. On the little girl is like a locket or a piece of jewelry that came from the exposition that somebody gave to her. I think in the director's cut of The Exorcist, they actually show they had shot some scenes intended to be showing them okay, showing them there. Let me go ahead and just like that, so I can put that down. Cool. Get some more oil. How we doing? We got 2 oils. Alright, let's put those in there. Okay, we don't really need the light any more than we already have. Hey, look at that. Pick up notes. Okay, there's a crouch as well. I'll have to check on this. It feels very Source Engine. I don't know if that's the engine they've used or if they wrote their own. But it does have that feel to it. Could just be a fancy way of saying, old game. Won't open. It's locked, so local history is locked. Oops. There we go. Ain't nothing down there. And we went through all of these. Study old tombs. I did go in this room, right? Yeah. Hey, I think this is a new area. Right, that, witnessing that stuff can increase my insanity, or cause me to lose my sanity, whichever way you want to look at it. Spooky sounds, spooky sounds. This Alexander fellow is obviously quite well to do, funding expeditions, owning quite a large house. Apparently is a baron. Okay, it's just a map. Some more maps. Some more maps. Feeling the insanity kick on. Maps. Okay. We just had a cave in. Go ahead and Central Prussia, Kingdom of Prussia. Any of these notes? No. Bunch of maps. Ah, here we go. You're gonna read that note?
17th May.
There it goes.
1839. After pounding the unforgiving stone wall for what seemed like an eternity, I realized it was hopeless. I was trapped. I fell to the ground, gasping for air, trying to focus. That's when I saw a faint blue shimmer. My weakened body was heavy to carry, but I managed to push myself toward the enchanting light.
So I've got control here in this memory. To basically walk toward
It was
this light.
waiting for me. Enclosed in dark nothingness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic light.
Touch it.
I reached out, closing it in my hands. The faint glow escaped my fingers and began to spark brightly and spirit me away, unlocking alien memories of spiraling towers, endless deserts, and impossible geometry. The next thing I can remember is the grating sound of stone being lifted, the voices of the Arabs pulling me to safety, and grasped firmly in my hands was the broken pieces of a most peculiar relic.
There you go. Very, Lovecraftian, that's for sure, in his telling. But from the dig, we got, pieces of an artifact. So, if we look at our journal here, diaries, yeah, that was the third entry. Here's our notes. Totally unknown histories, another. Okay, so mementos is basically making note of any quest or items that we found that we may want to go back to, which is nice. If we get stuck at some point, we can just reference that and go, okay, where can we go back to?
Much of the castle is old and hasn't been tended to for centuries. When the shadow arrives, it won't take long until things start falling apart.
We're just buying time anyway. Let's do what we can.
There isn't much to be done about the wards. We should reinforce weak structures. The ground will tremble and there's a risk everything will cave in on us, especially downstairs. Here, and there. Let's get the servants working on it.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that's a memory. Those are memories returning to Daniel as he progresses on. Whether Daniel wants those memories to return or not is probably an interesting thing to consider. Because clearly, the relationship between Daniel and Alexander at least started off as one of partnership, in that Daniel had this artifact and that was working with Henry Alexander. Was working with Alexander in exploring whatever the artifact meant. Okay. Fragile but not breakable by hand. I think. Just need an object of significant weight. Get our way back out.
You have to be swift when you activate the first one. You hear that? If it stops, you'll have to start over.
Isn't all this a bit excessive?
You can never be too careful, Daniel.
Okay, so I think when we come back, we're gonna have our first legit puzzle. I think that was what that was a clue for, in a way to, it looks like, slide this bookcase over. I'm guessing faint light and drift coming out from behind the shelf. There must be a way in. Yep. So next episode, we're gonna get behind the bookcase.